my favorite Spielberg movies. And basically, I was gifted this incredible career retrospective, a giant coffee book of everything Steven Spielberg. And so I wanted to take a look at it with you now. And I don't know if maybe I can make the. Oh, no. I was going to try to yeah, ooh. That could work. That way you can see it a little bit. Maybe if I do like this. I'm seeing Disclosure Day tomorrow, and I'm really excited for that. But of course, just so many fantastic things from Steven Spielberg over the years. So yeah, I wanted to just kind of take a look at this and chat about it. Spielberg always wearing his amazing baseball cap. So it looks like it starts out with kind of like how he started and a look back at his life. Okay, we've got some like bigger quotes and things. This is interesting. Okay, I kind of rebelled against the piano music because it was something that I just didn't understand. My mom played classical music, and to a child especially, that was horrid. That was the sounds of the violins in Psycho just striking the fingernails against the blackboard, and I used to scream bloody murder. My mom could not console me. That's amazing. I took piano growing up. I think all children experience filmmaking when their parents buy them a birthday present of little characters, soldiers, little men. When I was a kid, it was cowboys. And the kid lies down on the shag rug on his stomach, holds the little figure up right by his eyes, so it's very realistic, and gets an angle on that soldier, puts the other soldier at arm's length in the other hand, and goes bang, 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 bang. That's the beginning of filmmaking. We all start out as filmmakers, and I guess I never grew out of it. That's a fun one. Oh, goodness. I love, ooh, yeah, the nice promo shot, preparing a shot for Jaws. Yeah, we know that one. Let's see. If a movie is going to be a reflection of any kind of a real life situation, it has to have all of the sine waves of real stories, meaning there's absurdity, there's comedy, there's tragic loss, there's huge impenetrable forces chasing you down, and then there's redemption at the end. I quite like that. And I think you can see that a lot in Spielberg's filmmaking, where of course they have genres, and you can say this is horror, this is comedy, but I like that he knew that from the beginning of, no, you want to make sure that you're having all of the elements, because I think that really helps. Oh, hi, guys. Yep, just going into my book here, and I'm going to read some quotes just as I go through it. So we've got Duel. Duel is an indictment of machines, and I determined very early on that everything about the film would be the complete disruption of our whole technological society. Sad to say, I haven't seen Duel. I really need to check that one out. I actually have a script that I was interested in doing where they're inside of a moving bus, and I have a lot of cinematographers telling me that's dangerous and you can't do that, so I definitely need to check this one out. The Sugarland Express, that's the one film that I can honestly say if I had to do it all over again, I'd make Sugarland Express in a completely different fashion. That's interesting. Yeah, you've got Goldie Hawn there. Such a baby Spielberg. Okay, here's where I know. Jaws. Jaws was my Vietnam. It was basically naive people against nature, and nature beat us every day. Yes, of course, the tales of the making of Jaws are legend. It's a visceral film. It's a horror film that's going to tear your guts out. The Exorcist made you vomit, and this film will make you clutch your hands to your armpits. Yeah, I'm so fortunate. I got to go to Martha's Vineyard last year for the 50th anniversary, and that was just so cool to go and see all the different filming locations. And you just can't imagine, 26 years old, and okay, this is great. I was out of my mind with fear, not of being replaced, even though people were trying to fire me, but of letting everybody down. I was 26, and even though I felt like a veteran by that time, nobody else felt that way about me. I looked 17, I had acne, and that doesn't help instill confidence in seasoned crews. It was a nightmare. Going into the ocean was like working inside an earthquake. especially if you've read the Jaws log and you just know that they were writing things day by day, like the script wasn't finished and they had Verna Fields, the editor, right there on location with them, piecing it together, and they would have meetings every night saying, okay, well, what do we need to capture tomorrow? What do we still need to make the film make sense? So that was all very so interesting. I'm not so much afraid of sharks. I'm afraid of the water, and I'm afraid of everything that exists under the water that I can't see. Same, Spielberg, same. Oh man, such a good one. Yeah, like I said though, I just loved getting to see all the filming locations just on this one island in Martha's Vineyard. It was really cool going around and seeing all that history, and a lot of it's not really changed very much either from 74, 75. My next picture will be made on dry land. There won't even be a bathroom scene. Hilarious. Okay, Close Encounters of the Third Kind. If you believe, it's science fact. If you don't believe, it's science fiction. I'm an agnostic between the two beliefs, so for me, it's science speculation. You think he still thinks that way with Disclosure Day coming out? It's just all speculation? Oh, this is so cool. I loved seeing this one because I'd actually been to Devil's Tower National Monument when I was 9 on a road trip with my grandparents. So we got to hike around it, and it was one of the coolest things that I'd seen. And so to know that it was like the main star of a movie, so good. Okay, Jaws is a movie I could have played on a toy xylophone, but Close Encounters made me stretch further. It required all 88 keys. That's a really cool comparison for a director to make, that you always want to be growing and stretching, so I love that. I really believe that Close Encounters was probably the closest I've ever come to achieving a dream on film. It's very cool. Oh, I can't wait to dig into this and read more. I'm just trying to get the big pull quotes for those of you that are watching. 1941, this is an interesting one. What happened on the screen was pretty out of control, but the production was pretty much in control. I don't dislike the movie at all. This was a big flop for him. I'm not embarrassed by it. I just think that it wasn't funny enough. So there you go. This is another one I've got to see of his. I haven't seen it. But it looks like they had a lot of fun. Okay, Raiders of the Lost Ark. George pitched me the story, and I committed on the beach. We started a tradition of building lucky sandcastles. So we used to build sandcastles in Hawaii, and if the sandcastle withstood the first high tide, the film was a hit. If the high tide overran the sandcastle, we were going to have to struggle to make our money back. Well, which was it? I wish it said if the sandcastle survived for Raiders of the Lost Ark. Oh, that's cool. You've got Spielberg here with all the miniatures. This makes me want to go to Disney. Ride the Indiana Jones ride. We had, 7,000 live snakes. We began with 3,000, and it didn't look like enough. Then we had 5,000 rubber snakes, and the rubber snakes were controlled by wires, but with not many controllers and more snakes, they had to put 100 snakes on every wire, so it was kind of like watching the June Taylor dancers. They were all, hundreds were, moving at the same time, and it didn't work. So then they went to 7,000 live snakes. Wah! Wah! E.T., the Extraterrestrial, 1982. When I started E.T., I was fat and happy and satisfied with having the films I had on my list, and I just didn't feel I had anything to lose. I had nothing to prove to anybody except me. That's a cool mindset for a director to take. He already has this amazing portfolio, this body of work, so now he can really kind of take some chances with it. Oh, little Drew Barrymore. So cute. E.T. was a great experience for me because I wanted to be a dad after making it. I wasn't a father, and I kind of became a father to those 3 kids, especially Drew Barrymore. And so that movie sort of changed my life in a very tangible way. That's really sweet. For me, E.T. was both the quintessential story of my childhood and at the same time the end of my childhood. And it gave me the courage, based on its success, to start to tackle more adult subjects. E.T. gave me a kind of free pass to fail. That's really awesome. Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom. I got separation pangs. I knew that if I didn't direct Temple, someone else would. I got a little bit jealous. I got a little bit frustrated. I wish he'd kept that energy for Jurassic series franchise, but whatever. The prettiest thing that came out of that film was my future wife and the PG-13 rating, which was invented because of it. That's true. It's so nice, though. The color purple. We're up to 1985 now. The big difference in the color purple is that the story is not bigger than the lives of these people. I didn't want to make another movie that dwarfs the characters, but here the characters are the story. At the very end of the color purple is the Western sets, 6 points, on the Universal backlot. Empire of the Sun, 1987. So for the first time, I'm making a movie to satisfy me, not the audience. Now we're going to start getting into ones that I haven't seen some more. So Christian was easy. He listened more than he spoke, and he invested himself both spiritually and consciously into the character of Jim. Yeah, I really need to see this one. See a young Christian Bale. Look at all that. That looks like, yep, that's New York Street on the Universal backlot. Very cool. I don't think I've made a dark movie, but it's as dark as I've allowed myself to get, and that was perversely very compelling to me. Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade. The Grail legend was interesting to me symbolically because it represented the search for oneself, but making a movie about that seemed too esoteric for this genre. I don't know. I've kind of got some Spielberg things going on. I love me my aviator sunglasses too. There's a one of my friends loves having all the baseball caps that Spielberg's worn throughout the years, and it's very fun to see. I'm making the third movie to apologize for the second. It was too horrific. Oh my gosh. Always. Some movies don't take off, and there's 1,000 reasons why. It was a good experience for me to make that movie because it was all about human emotions. I have no regret at all. I love that for all of the things that we've seen so far, even if things weren't really a box office hit or even a critical hit. He's got no regrets. We love that. Hook. I love Hook because I love Robin Williams. So this is 1991. Every day I came on set, I thought, is this flying out of control? I wonder if that's because there was so much improvisation happening from Robin Williams. That would be very fun to read about. Oh, guys, I miss Robin Williams. What a joy. I'm only not afraid to fly in my dreams and in my movies, but in real life, I'm terrified of flying. You got everybody on wires. Very cool. Let me see. Yes! Okay, Jurassic Park, 1993. This is probably, no, it just is my favorite Spielberg film. So, I have no embarrassment in saying that with Jurassic, I was really just trying to make a good sequel to Jaws on land. It's shameless. I can tell you that now. Ugh, I love it so much. Look at this picture. I have to make a dinosaur movie, you guys, just so I can take a bunch of pictures like this. Oh, it's so good. Man, I need to go to Hawaii and see these filming locations. People went to see that movie over and over again because of the dinosaurs, not because the kids had a nice scene where they sat in a tree at night and talked for 3 minutes. Which was filmed inside of Soundstage 14 on the Universal lot. Ugh. It would be so cool to see these massive puppets. I didn't make it to change the way people saw the world. I made the movie because it was entertaining and it was the kind of movie I wanted to see, which is my motivation for making a lot of my movies. I've always wanted to do a dinosaur movie, so this, in a sense, was my hobby movie. You know what? Honestly, I really like that as well, that mindset from a director, because I think so often we get caught up in like, what does the studio want? What does the audience want? And for him to just say, no, this is art I made for myself because I thought it would be fun and entertaining. I love that. Okay, Schindler's List. I need some water. She's talking too much. Schindler's List, also 1993. This is the first movie with a message I have ever attempted. It's a very simple message that something like this should never happen again, but it's one that's very close to my heart. I was pretty certain that whatever came my way in Poland I could tolerate, and just put my camera between myself and the subject and protect myself, you know, by creating my own aesthetic distance. And immediately, on the first day of shooting, that broke down. Yeah. Really important film. Okay. Everybody else had a problem with it. Nobody at the studio really wanted me to make the movie at all. One studio executive, who shall remain nameless, said, "Why don't we just make a donation to the Holocaust Museum? Would that make you happy?" Yikes. I never knew that. But that also just goes to show you that even someone with Spielberg's massive portfolio can still get pushback from the studios about like what they want to see. So I'm really glad that he decided to go for it and make something that was that important to him. And I know this was more on his adult subject matter and something that was really emotional, but it just had such a huge impact as well. So for a lot of the survivors who dared to see Schindler's List, it unlocked a lot in them. They didn't tell their children and grandchildren any more about what they had been hiding from, about what they went through in the Holocaust, but they did say, if you see Schindler's List, it's not as bad as what happened to me, but it will give you a very small idea what I went through. Wow. Sorry, this next picture. That's Lost World, Jurassic Park. Look at that. Oh, Spielberg. One of the toughest things about a sequel is the expectation that goes along with it, that you're going to top the first one. And therein lies all of my anxiety. You can't really top yourself. You just tell a different story and hope the new MacGuffin is as compelling as the last MacGuffin. I've got to go back and rewatch this one. I've actually only seen it once, if you can believe it, because I love Jurassic Park so much. It wasn't the best follow-up, but I also know everyone likes it, or a lot of people like it more than like the Jurassic World franchise and everything after that. Like I said, I have to go give it a rewatch because I think having Ian Malcolm be the lead character, I was already like, wait, what is happening? So the first couple of days on The Lost World, I was fairly rusty, but like getting back on a bicycle, you pick it up pretty quickly. And then the ambrosia takes over and you kick yourself for not having directed for 3 years. Oh, wow. Is that the... Wow. Okay, so after Schindler's List, he took a 3-year hiatus. I hadn't realized that. The first movie was really about the failure of technology and the success of nature. This movie is much more about the failure of people to find restraint within themselves and the failure of morality to protect these animals. Oh, this is another cool picture. Inside of the Velociraptor suit there. Which is really more of a Utah raptor, but we won't go there. Amistad. I kind of dried it out and it became too much of a history lesson. Honestly, this is another one I haven't seen. I know. Can't believe. I certainly thought I could withstand any image that I put up on the screen, even images from history, but sometimes they're hard to look at, and especially hard to look at when they're being performed live right in front of you. Saving Private Ryan. This is 1998. Saving Private Ryan was a tribute to my dad. This was 100% for my dad. When I got the Oscar, I said, Dad, this is for you. This is yours. I told my dad many, many years ago that I was going to make a World War II movie for him. It's the best experience I've ever had working with an actor. I can say that categorically, the best experience I've ever had. For Tom Hanks. I wanted the audience to feel the same as those green recruits that were just off those Higgins boats and had never seen combat before. 95% of them hadn't. It was complete chaos, and I was trying to put chaos up on the screen. I think I just saw something the other day that said that wasn't choreographed. It was just, they knew they had to get from point A to point B, and they just kept rolling with like explosions all around them. And I don't know, I'll have to go back and look at that more. It honestly might be here in this book. But we're just doing the overview today. I think every country should tell stories about their own history. The British have certainly made some of the great stories about World War II. I think that we are responsible for telling as much of what we know and who we are as possible, and we expect that of everyone else who has a story to tell. From a historical perspective, the Second World War seems really cut and dried or black and white, but inside a war and inside combat, it's technically chaotic, and personally very chaotic, and personally very contradictory. When we look back from the standpoint of history, we can say, oh yeah, World War II clearly set the good and the bad apart from one another. But inside combat, the issue is never that clear. To the soldiers fighting the war, it can be very confusing. AI, artificial intelligence. Again, because Spielberg's doing all of this press for Disclosure Day, I just saw a thing that said he was supposed to direct the Harry Potter movies. He was supposed to be filming the first Harry Potter movie when, unfortunately, Stanley Kubrick died and he took over for AI. I had never heard about that before. That was new. I think Stanley Kubrick recognized that the only time our sensibilities were on a parallel track was AI, and Stanley was the one who called me. He was the one who, for the first time ever, said, I want you to read a treatment that I've written. I actually remember, I think I had a panic attack when I saw this in movie theaters. Something about it being too off kilter. Okay, AI is about the end of the entire human race that is superseded by the Frankensteins that man has put on the planet in the greedy effort to make a boy who could love you. But the boy himself is not human. He's next to human. A substitute love child, is almost a crime, and the human race pays for that crime. And so I think it's a very tragic story, and I think I was as true to Stanley Kubrick's vision as I possibly could be. Uncanny Valley, back in 2001. Minority Report, 2002 is what we're up to. It's a popcorn movie, but a gourmet popcorn movie. Oh, goodness. Working with Tom Cruise here. Don't hurt me. I haven't seen it. Science fiction loves to warn. Remember, science fiction has always been a kind of first-level alert to think about things to come. It's easier for an audience to heed warnings from sci-fi without feeling that we're preaching to them. Catch Me If You Can. I have seen. I need to rewatch this, though. I was like, oh, wow, that was very interesting. Also 2002. Leo had such a wily intelligence in his eyes. He had such a great presentational style. Frank got away with everything he got away with based on 80% presentation, only 20% imagination. It's all about presentation. To be a con man. Yeah, that was a fun one. I'm a big fan of scams. I loved The Flim Flam Man. I loved Scarecrow with Gene Hackman. I loved Elmer Gantry, which I think is a bit of a scam movie. The Sting and Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid were kind of scams. Some of these villains, you have to sympathize with them. Yeah, Leo was a likable character when he's supposed to be the villain. The Terminal, 2004, because we love a Tom Hanks collab with Spielberg. I wanted to do a movie that could make us laugh and cry and feel good about the world. Tom Hanks, stuck in an airport. I believe all of us have felt a little bit like Victor at some time in our lives, that this displaced person in search of a life. It's a fantasy. It's a Frank Capra movie. I always thought that when we made The Terminal, we were also taking our hats off to Capra. Okay, War of the Worlds. You can go see the airplane crash site set at Universal. I never made War of the Worlds for a family audience. War of the Worlds was a very intense post 9/11 apocalyptic movie about the end of everything. Great. Great. Oh, I'm stuck. Science fiction is not a subconscious thing at all. To me, it's a vacation. It's a vacation away from all the rules of narrative logic. It's a vacation away from physics and physical science. It lets you leave all the rules behind and fly. Munich, 2005. This movie is a prayer for peace. I was always thinking about that as I was making the picture. I love all these silhouettes. I love a silhouette. I certainly tried to bring an early 70s Hollywood style, a cinema verite style with zoom lenses and tools that we used to make those movies. One of my favorites being The Day of the Jackal. Indiana Jones and the Kingdom of the Crystal Skull, 2008, which you can see part of again on the Universal backlot in Old Mexico. I'm very obedient to the stories that George writes. I'll fight things I don't believe in, but ultimately, if George wants to bring interdimensional beings into Crystal Skull, I will do my best job I possibly can to acquit his idea and make him proud. Oh, goodness. And Shia LaBeouf. I was sort of amazed that all of us got our indie legs back in the first couple of days of shooting, and that was the good news. It was a real reunion with the sweetest memories. In 1989, I thought the curtain was lowering on the series, which is why I had all the characters literally ride off into the sunset at the end. But ever since then, the most common question I get asked all over the world is, when are you going to make another Indiana Jones? That's fun. The Adventures of Tintin, The Secret of the Unicorn, 2011. I also have not seen this. Shh, don't tell anyone. Even though it was 28 years in my heart, 2 years of prep, and 3 physical years making this film, this was the most fun I've had since E.T. Wow. That's some high praise. I gotta tell you, this animation style, I don't think is my favorite, but I do like, they've got these behind the scenes pictures of the mocap suits. That's pretty fun. So many Spielberg films to watch still. I'm flattered when Tintin is compared to Raiders, but I took no special measures to enhance the comparisons. Warhorse, 2011. Every time I delve into an episode of history that I don't know very much about, my first reaction is anger that my teachers never taught me about it. I get that. This is a human narrative. It's about the connectivity that an animal can bring to human characters. It's really much more of a story of hope, and the hope that actually can exist in extremely dark circumstances. Lincoln, 2012. Gosh, he looks so much like Lincoln there. Good job, Daniel Day. As a little kid, I remember being forced up the steps of the Lincoln Memorial to stand at the feet of this gigantic statue and being afraid to look at the face and only looking at the hands. As I was being led out, I remember daring myself and taking a quick peek at the face and instantly feeling a kind of warmth all over, like only a kid can feel. That informed my interest in Lincoln. We didn't want to put Lincoln on a marble pedestal, but we did want him interacting with the big issue at hand, which was fighting to win enough votes to pass a constitutional amendment that would abolish slavery, and the other issue, to end the war. Bridge of Spies. We're back with Tom. This is my first negotiation movie because that's what James Donovan did best. He was a very, very artful negotiator. I've never done anything like that before, so I was using muscles I didn't even know I had. Again, loving to push ourselves in the storytelling process. The BFG, the Big Friendly Giant. Loss, loneliness, being challenged and pursued by big forces. It's the loneliest story I think I've ever told. These two lonely people find a way to make a difference. This was in 2016. Big clapperboard. The Post, 2017. I deeply resented the hashtag alternative facts because I'm a believer in only one truth, which is the objective truth. I thought I'd seen this, but I don't think I have. Interesting. Okay, Ready Player One, 2018. I just saw how hard this was going to be. This is the third hardest movie I've ever made behind Jaws and Saving Private Ryan in that order. I was exhausted thinking about what was ahead of me. I remember going to a tech expo on the Warner Brothers backlot where Ready Player One hadn't come out yet, but they were talking about, the whole thing was about technology. So one was talking about the use of VR and how Spielberg has always looked to whatever new technology is happening and incorporated that into his filmmaking. And they were making a big deal about how he used VR to map out the set and all of the action prior to shooting anything. And so I always thought that was interesting. But also I still haven't seen it, so I just remember that tidbit. West Side Story. Every sequence kept me up at night. There's not one musical sequence in this movie that didn't have me pacing my bedroom at 3 o'clock in the morning. Oh, man. And then, what we got? Yeah, The Fabelmans, 2022. I've told this story in parts and parcels all through my career. E.T. has a lot to do with this story. Close Encounters has a lot to do with this story. No, that's the end. Wait. Oh, I'm really going to like this one. I can tell. Okay. Every movie is really a time capsule. When you finish a film and you say goodbye to your cast and crew, you've buried a piece of your life right there on that set, and that's going to stay there forever. This is really nice. Like I said, I can't wait to dive into it more. Those were just a couple of pull quotes. And what a beautiful look at Spielberg's long career. I'm really excited for Disclosure Day. Like I said, I'm seeing it tomorrow. And yet another alien film from Spielberg. So we'll see. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. And what else you guys want to talk about on live streams? Because I'd like to get back into them. I saw a question that says, are you going to watch it at home or the theater? Theater. I've got a list. So I know it comes out, I guess, Friday. But they give you the option to see it on Thursday. So yeah. All right. Well, that's it for today, guys. Let me know what you want to see next in more live streams. And maybe I'll chat about Disclosure Day after I've seen it. Take care.